For those that are joining, I'm just going live a little bit early to test the audio. Um, so if you guys can hear me, just drop a comment in. Just testing out the audio. You guys can hear me good? So we're just going to give it a few minutes, another 10 minutes or so, let some people roll in. I know I'm scheduled for 7, so I don't want to get started too early before other people get in for the sourcing session. So we'll just hang out for a few minutes. I just wanted to come on a little early and test the audio quality. For those of you who are in here, we had some technical difficulties last weekend, so I'm happy that we can square those away today. So we'll get it going in a few minutes. Give people 5 more minutes or so to join. So for those that are in, we are going to be doing a live sourcing session tonight. Right now, we only have a couple people in. So for those that are in, if you have any questions in the next 5 to 10 minutes before we actually get started with the session, feel free to drop them in the comments. We are going to be going off of Excel spreadsheet, and we'll be toggling back and forth between the Excel spreadsheet and Amazon.com. where we will be doing our sourcing. For those that are just joining, drop a comment in if you can hear me okay. And we're waiting a few more minutes to get some more people in, and we will get going in the next 5 minutes or so. For those that are just joining, if you have any questions in the next couple of minutes before we get started with the session, feel free to drop a comment and we'll get those questions answered. I'm going to have a Q&A at the end of the video for those that want to stick around and get some questions answered. Again, guys, drop a comment in the section if you are just joining in. Let me know you're here. For those that are just joining, drop a comment down in the section below to let me know that you are here and you can hear me okay. And we're going to be starting up at 7:05. So I'm going to give it another 3 minutes. Maybe we can get a couple more people in. If not, that's okay. This will be recorded and it will be on my channel. So you guys are welcome to pop back in and rewatch the video. The goal of this video, guys, is just to provide you with as much value as possible, so that you can really learn the process of sourcing suppliers. This is not to provide you guys with direct supplier leads, but rather to show you my thought process and methodology that I use in finding profitable wholesale suppliers, because this is the exact method that I go through in order to find the companies that I work with and do business with on a daily basis. And there is a system and a procedure that you guys should be following when you are sourcing your companies. So I'm going to break this video down, and we're creeping up here on 7:05. So I'm going to start introducing what we're going to go over. And for those that are just joining, feel free to drop a comment in below. If you guys have any questions that you think of throughout the video, drop them in the comment section, and I might not get to them right away if we're in the middle of sourcing, but I will 100% have all those questions answered by the end of the video. And then at the very end of the video, we will be doing a, um, a Q&A. So that should help you guys out a lot. I do apologize for last week. We had some technical difficulty, the audio quality. I had to actually go live in Facebook. So those that are in my Facebook group got a free private sourcing session. So if you guys haven't joined the Facebook group yet, I will leave a link for that in the description below once we sign off. But it's called Amazon FBA Wholesale Mastermind. And the goal of that group is to provide you guys with a bunch of free, valuable content to help start and scale your wholesale business. So if you haven't joined that group yet, make sure to check it out. In this video, we're going to go through the sourcing methods that I use, which consists primarily of storefront stalking. So going through other sellers' storefronts in order to find the brands that I work with. And we're going to cover what kinds of companies that I'm targeting. So I am targeting primarily small to mid-sized companies. I do not work with very large brands. I work primarily with companies that you or I have probably never heard of, but those products that I buy from those companies, they have met a certain set of criteria. So guys, the more product research that you do, the more you are going to find that there is so many thousands upon thousands of brands that are available out there to work with. Guys, there is not enough hours in the day to find all of the companies that exist on Amazon. And the amazing part is that a lot of these companies are Amazon seller friendly, which we'll get into later on in the video. But a lot of these companies are Amazon seller friendly, and their products sell thousands of units a month. And these are small to mid-sized companies, anywhere from a few $1,000,000 a year to $50 million a year sized companies, even could be larger than that. I work with couple companies that do more than that kind of volume per year. So, I mean, guys, there's a ton of opportunity. So we are going to get into it. Small to mid-sized companies is our main target. From there, after or as we're going through the sourcing, I am going to cover what's the difference between phone calls and emails, and what should you do, how should you approach that. We will cover a little bit of software. So Keepa, I will break down a little bit how I analyze my profit. And we will cover a couple other softwares that you might need in the process of going through your sourcing. We're going to cover something called map pricing. We'll get into that a bit later. And then towards the end of the video, I will open it up for a Q&A. So without further ado, thank you guys for joining the session today. And if you haven't yet, please hit that like button because it does help the channel grow. I really appreciate the support, guys. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well because you will be able to stay up to date on the future videos and content that I come out with. So let's jump right into it. So as you guys can see, I have a spreadsheet with a few companies in it already. This is just a build off from when I was doing the sourcing session in my Facebook group. So we're going to build off of what we started, and I'm going to toggle back and forth between this spreadsheet and Amazon, and we're going to dive in and look at the product listings, and then we're going to open up another tab to search for the actual company. So this is what reverse sourcing looks like. We're starting on Amazon and then we're jumping to Google, finding the company, recording that company in our spreadsheet, and then taking that information down. So let's jump right into it here. I'm just going to click on a random one that we already have in our list because, as you guys know, my main method of sourcing is to go through other sellers' storefronts. And so we did cover this product in another one of my videos. Right now, what I'm doing is I found this product listing, and what we do from here is we look at the other offers that are on the listing. So on the right-hand side, we have what's called the buy box, which is the buy it now button, and then the seller that is, so to speak, in the buy box will appear down here below. It says ships from Amazon and sold by this seller. And what that means is that Amazon fulfills the seller's inventory, meaning they ship it to the customer, and this seller gets the sale, but they're using fulfillment by Amazon. So that seller sent their inventory into Amazon's warehouse, and Amazon picks, preps, and sends out their inventory to the customer. Most of my inventory is fulfilled by Amazon, and that is a very great way to scale your business because Amazon will handle all of the shipping and customer service. So we will jump into here and look at the other offers that are on the listing. And from here, I'm going to open up some of these storefronts in a new tab. And personally, I like to target FBA storefronts. Not to say FBM storefronts are not going to be worth your time, but I like to target FBA storefronts because that's my main business model. I primarily use FBA, and if I know that that seller sells FBA profitably, there's a better chance that I can sell FBA profitably on this item. So I'll just open up some of these storefronts in a new tab. And I don't want to get too crazy with the tabs because you guys should see my computer when I'm sourcing. It gets very inundating with all the tabs that I have open. So we'll just jump into the seller storefront. We'll go into products and we will just start sourcing the products. So from here, I'm actually going to quickly jump back over to the spreadsheet. So here's my product criteria, guys. Feel free to take a screenshot of this, jot this down. My product criteria consists of Amazon not being on the listing. How do I know if Amazon is on the listing or not? Well, I will look and see if Amazon is in the buy box, and if they're not in the buy box, I will go down to the keepa graph and I will see if it is painted in orange, and that will tell me if Amazon is or is not on the listing. I want my retail price point to be above $18. So I want the price to be greater than $18. And the reason for that is the lower we go in retail price, the more difficult it becomes to maintain a steady profit margin, because the higher your top line is, the higher your sales are, the higher your bottom line is, generally speaking. If the price, however, is below $18, and I do sell a number of products that are below $18 in retail pricing, I'm looking for a sales rank that is below 10,000. For those of you who are not familiar with what sales rank is, it's a system by which Amazon ranks all of their products on the platform. And the lower the sales rank is, so the closer the sales rank is to 1, the better the product sells. And in each of the respective categories on Amazon, each of these sales ranks, they each mean something else. So for instance, let's quickly jump here, and then we'll get into the sourcing. But if I go to Jungle Scout's free sales estimator, this is a free estimator, so you guys can jump right on Google and use this tool. Let's say the product has a 10,000 rank, and we're selling in the United States, and our product is in the category of health and household. I calculate the sales, and it's telling me it's selling about 2,200 units a month. Now, this same rank, 10,000, in, let's say, video games, only sells 120 units a month. So the sales rank is dependent on what the category is, and it is contingent upon that. So it's all relative, guys. A 10,000 sales rank in video games is definitely not a 10,000 sales rank in health and household. So that's something that we have to consider. But however, generally speaking, 10,000 and below is going to yield me a sales result that is decent. And the reason for that, the reason why I'm going for this higher sales velocity when the price goes lower, is because my profit is going down and my return on investment is going down. So as my ROI decreases, I want my sales to increase, and vice versa. If my sales velocity decreases a little bit, meaning the product is a little bit slower moving, it doesn't sell as fast, I want my profit and ROI to increase because I know I have to wait a little bit longer to sell that inventory. But if I can make 50 bucks on my sale, then that's going to be worth it. I want a minimum of 20 product sales per month, and I can see this generally, a general sales estimate on this through the Keepa chart, which we will explore. Number 5, more than 30 product reviews. So guys, this is not a set in stone number. None of this is set in stone criteria, but I like to see that the product has more than 30 reviews because it shows me that there is some form of establishment on that product. It just, generally speaking, the higher the sales velocity is, the more reviews there are. That's the general trend that we can see on products. And I want there to be more than one seller on the listing, but at the same time, I want there to be less than 15 sellers. One seller on the listing tells me that the product is most likely a private label product, and that is something that I'm going to stay away from because they're most likely not going to be selling to wholesale vendors on Amazon. A product with anything greater than 15 sellers on the listing starts to get oversaturated and overcrowded. This does depend on the sales velocity, but I do like to keep it below that 15 sellers. I would say a sweet spot for sellers is anywhere between 3 and 10 sellers would be a good solid number to invest in a product on. So we're going to jump right into it. So I'm looking through the seller storefront and I'm already seeing, by the way, I have a software plugin here. It's called DS Quick View is what it's called. And that is a free software. So jot that down. That will tell you, just without even clicking on the product, if it's sold by Amazon, how many sellers are on it, the ASIN number, and the sales rank. So I'm already seeing that the first few products are sold by Amazon. I don't even need to click on them. Huge brand, not interested. Legos, huge brand. We'll open that. So what did I do here? I saw price point is $67.95. That's a great price point. Solid number of reviews, excellent rank, 10 or more sellers. I'm going to open that in a new tab. Sold by Amazon. See, now most of the stuff by this seller is in fact sold by Amazon. And I'm probably going to click out of the seller storefront because of that reason. That tells me that the seller is most likely a distributor and they are selling a number of pretty well-named products. So I'm looking for more smaller niche size companies, not necessarily these big brands like this razor company. We're not too interested in that. So we'll scroll for another page or two and then we will jump into a new tab. So this has a good rank, but the price is just so low at $9. It's not going to be worth it for me. And a lot of this stuff is sold by Amazon. All right, we will start there, and I'm going to close this store out because primarily sold by Amazon, not really something I'm interested in. Okay, so I did my first screening criteria. I looked at price point and reviews. Now I'm going to quickly look at the Keepa chart and see if there is Amazon on the listing. And in this case, they are not. They are only on it in brief moments, which is if the whole graph was painted orange in this color or orange or yellow, whatever that color is, that would tell me that Amazon controls the listing and I would not be interested in that. So I'm going to jump over to Google and I'm just going to type in the name of the product or brand or company, frog pool system. It already comes up. So we'll go here to the website and I will instantly go Command F and I will search for contact because I'm looking for a contact button. So the word contact is not on here, but the phone number is. So we'll take down the phone number. I'll put the name of my product in there and I will put the link to Amazon. Why do I put the link to Amazon? Guys, if you don't put the link to Amazon here, you're going to have a tough time when you go back in and call the company. I found that sometimes I'll get a call back from a company and I might not be in front of my computer at the time and I won't even know who the I gotta close this out. I won't even know who the company is when they call me back. So that's something you guys should absolutely do. Um, and let's just quickly touch on phone numbers versus email addresses. So this company looks like they're generally a pretty large company, not a huge company. A lot of us have heard of these types of products, this brand. So it tells me that the company is pretty big. So in this case, when the company is on the bigger side, I might first inquire with an email inquiry. And the reason for this is if I call this company directly, especially because it's an 800 number, chances are I'm going to get some sales representative and not someone that I can have a direct conversation with about some of the issues that they have faced on Amazon. So if I get moved to a sales rep who then moves me to another person who then moves me to another person, chances are the company is pretty big and I'm not going to get on the phone with someone who has a real say in their control over Amazon product listings and different things like that. So they're not really going to be providing me much help if I'm trying to provide that brand value on Amazon, right? So in this case, I would probably send an email inquiry, and it looks like this company actually they work through a distributor called King Technology. So we could call the number and just find out more information, but I would not expect to convince anyone at the company in this case. So we'll keep it moving. I'm going to jump back here. No questions so far. If you guys are still here and you have any questions as we go, feel free to drop them in. So I closed that out, but I'm going to open it again because from here now, guys, this is the biggest part of sourcing. We are now going to go into this product and find more storefronts. And then we're going to continue doing this over and over again, right? This is what's going to yield us those niche level storefronts and help us find more profitable products. So again, we're going through here and we're opening up the products in new tabs, guys. This is the way to do it. And you guys already know my initial screening criteria. So you know why I'm skipping over some and opening others. Got a few more products there. It's a #1 best seller. 20 people. Not bad. It moves people here. Sellers. You know, it can't hurt to put a company on our list. So, I might have those out here. It doesn't want to cooperate with all these tabs open. So I'm just going to type this, copy the name of the brand, open up Google, paste it in there. Find the company website. Here it is. We're operating a little slow because sorry about that, guys. We cut out on our screen share. If you guys can hear me, let me know. sometimes when I open up too many tabs, it slows down too much. So we're just going to pick it right back up where we left off. If you can hear me, let me know. So I'm looking for the contact. So again, so something you'll see here, guys, on the company site, we might see the option for wholesale. So I will click on wholesale, and from there, it'll bring me to some more information about maybe how to apply for a wholesale account. They're showing me that I can apply here, but I might do this, but at the same time, I want to contact the company as well, because that is a way to get the brand owner or someone who has a high amount of say on the phone. And that's really where you're going to convince someone at the company. So what is this called? Poopori. That's interesting. Again, guys, there are just so many, like thousands of brands out there. I mean, it is just mind blowing. Like when you start going through this and going through this process, you're going to see that there are thousands of companies out there. It's amazing, and thousands of companies that are profitable that you can work with. So we got that in there. Let's open up another one. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me. If you guys can still hear and see the video, just drop a comment. So we'll search this company up. So a couple people did tell me that the audio cut out. So I do apologize for that, but we're picking back up right where we left off. So, I'll put the name of the contact number. I'll also put the website next to here just so I can reference it when I go to make a phone call. I'll put the link to Amazon right here. And then I will put the title of the product just so I have, some point of reference when I go back in. And you're just rinsing and repeating this cycle. So close that one out. And again, I could have kept that tab open and went through the storefronts that were on that product tab, which is half, that's half the goal, guys, is if you can continue to source more companies, go through more product storefronts, and keep going through these products, you are eventually going to find profitable companies to do business with. So that is that's really important. And guys, this is a very outsourceable task. So you can easily give a virtual assistant a set of storefronts that you have pre-vetted, and you can take those storefronts. Say it's a list of 10 storefronts that you want to keep on record. You'll send your virtual assistant all of those storefronts, and you'll say, hey, go through those storefronts with this set of criteria, and they will be able to generate you a list of call leads to go through. And that's exactly how I do this. I give my storefronts to my virtual assistant, who is trained in this and has experience with Amazon businesses. And my virtual assistant, who is great, will go through the storefronts that I give him according to my criteria. He will pump me out a list of, say, 100 different leads, and then I'll make about 100 calls throughout the week, give or take. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but my goal is about 100 to 125 company calls or emails per week. As long as I'm contacting that many companies per week, I can derive a certain set of accounts at the end of the week, at which point I think I can then go through the product price lists, determine profitability, um, purchase the product, sell on Amazon, keep my restock, rinse and repeat. And that is how the cycle goes. So we'll keep going here. This is an awesome price point. I love that. 200 bucks. I love selling products that are more than 100 bucks just because my bottom line is way higher, right? If the product is $200, chances are I could be making 30 bucks a sale on those products. So that is important to keep in mind. Skipping over this was the same company we did, but this listing Amazon is on. That makes me a little skeptical about the company. Do they sell to Amazon directly? And guys, if you're gated in products, restricted on Amazon in certain products like supplements, wholesale is a great business model because the nature of the business is such that you can get ungated with your first purchase. You purchase inventory from your supplier, and they will provide you with an invoice and any other necessary documentation, such as a certificate of analysis, a child protection certificate for toys, or products that are for children under 13. And those types of documents that Amazon is going to require in order to be ungated, you are now going to easily be able to get those documents and then going to get ungated on Amazon because you are doing business with the brand directly or an authorized distributor. All right, this page is looking good. This was the same company as we did before. So right there, boom, one page. I just opened up, if we can keep we might have to close a couple down again, but you guys get the point. If we can keep these up here, on one page, I just opened up a bunch of products, and that's one page on one storefront on the entire Amazon product catalog. Third-party sellers make up 2/3 of Amazon's sales volume. So think about how many hundreds of thousands of storefronts there are to go to, millions even. So for this, I just want to note something here. When I'm looking at the keepa chart on this product, I am seeing a price point that generally stays at $199. What that tells me is that this company has what is called a MAP price policy, a minimum advertised pricing policy. And what that means is that any authorized distributor or third-party seller, so you or I, that purchases from the company and sells the product on Amazon and likely any other marketplace online, you are not allowed to list the product for anything lower than $199. And the brand does this for a number of reasons. The main one being that the brand can maintain its product integrity by keeping the price at one price point, right? If a customer goes on, buys it for $200 one day, and the next day it's down to $99, well, the brand loses its product integrity because now it's devaluing that product, right? One day it's 200, the next day it's 100. Well, which is it? Is the product worth $200 or is it worth $100? So just another way for a brand to maintain control on Amazon. There are pros to MAP pricing, and there are cons to MAP pricing. And I think that's actually a good video we should come out with MAP pricing. So I'm going to put that down, and we can come out with a video on MAP pricing and explain that and break down some of the pros and cons associated with dealing with brands that have MAP policies. So that's what MAP pricing is, guys. Again, we'll break it down further another time, But if you do business with a company that has MAP pricing, you will most likely have to sign a MAP agreement where you agree to sell the products online and list those products no lower than their minimum advertised price policy. So that's something that you guys have to consider. There's no ability to adjust your price or undercut the price because you have agreed to distribute at that price. What happens if you go below it? Well, depending on the company, they might do nothing if they're very loose. Some companies are loosey-goose and they don't really monitor their MAP too well. Other companies are extremely strict and stringent in their MAP pricing and will cut you off immediately. Other companies will issue you a warning and then cut you off. So based on the company that you work with, they're all going to have their certain set of criteria. So we'll get a couple more companies in our spreadsheet. I'm just gonna copy that and put it in here so I could find the brand's website. Right onto the brand website. And here we are, contact us. Right here, phone number. So I see an 800 number, I see a area code direct number. So I'm going with the direct because I want to talk to a human being or someone who is much closer to what I'm looking for, right? I'll take down the number, the email. We'll get our link to Amazon, copy and paste that, and we will just put the first few keywords in the title. So from there, we'll go here, go to 16 new, and go through our storefronts. For explanation purposes, I am going to close that out, but we'll go to our next product here. Again, it looks like they maintain a MAP pricing structure because the price pretty much stays at $12.95. Looks like it goes down a little bit, but that could be due to a number of reasons. So my price is below 18, but the sales rank is, and the sales rank is not too great, but we'll throw them in the list, guys. I tend to keep more of a loose criteria because this is just initial screening, right? I'm not actually investing in any product yet. That's later on for when I actually get a price list. I'll type in website after here so I can find the company's website, which I'm not sure. Here we go. Contact, phone. Here's a direct number over the 800 number. And we will take the email. We'll put our link to Amazon. And we will put our title. Again, rinse and repeat. We'll go to our seller storefronts, go through all the storefronts, and we will continue to do that. So that is how we're doing this, guys. For those that do have some questions, I'm seeing some questions come in. So we're going to get to these questions at the end, but we're going to cover all these questions at the end. These are all great questions. So we'll get to those at the end, but let's keep going here. Let's keep moving along. Melatonin. All right. I need some of that right about now. So I'm going to quickly look at the keepa, guys. This looks like it's a very strict MAP policy. $30 and it's not moving, not even once. That tells me that the company has a very strict MAP policy. Open the new tab, and this is called That's the name. Paste it in. I'm looking for the website. Again, so if you paste that brand and product into Google and you see that, you know, the brand website does not pop up right away and you see a bunch of distributors, you might have to go a little bit further and type in website like I did before, because I'm looking for the brand website, right? I can go to this, but this looks like it's a distributor of those products. Guys, if you recall, for me personally, I like working with the brands directly as opposed to authorized distributors, because when I purchase direct from the manufacturer or the brand, my profit margin is going to be higher. Whereas if I have to purchase from a distributor, that distributor buys from the brand, the distributor then sells to me, and I have to sell on Amazon and I have to get past Amazon fees. So there's just more components involved with that, and it keeps lowering your bottom line. So again, this is the first page, you might have to go through a distributor, which is okay. So, maybe I'd take this down and say something like this. I would go here, go into my spreadsheet, paste it in, put the title of the product, put it in here, and we'll take a note and say, search Google for distributors, right? Distributors, I work with one distributor. They're actually a local distributor. And the only reason I work with them is distributors can work, but I prefer brands. So close that out. Again, looking like a very strict map structure here. Copy that, open a new tab, paste it in Google, looking for the site. Here it is. Contact, I see a phone number here. Copy it, paste it in here, reference our link, title for reference purposes, and we'll put that in. So I want to, now that we've gotten some companies in here and you guys have seen the process a little bit more, and again, this is not, if everyone in here goes and calls these companies, you're not going to get a wholesale account most likely, because everyone's going to be doing the same thing. The goal of this video is to show you guys the process and my thought process and what's actually going into my screening criteria, instead of just going on and showing you guys and giving you companies. That's not the goal of this video. So I want to break something down right now. So we have our keepa chart, and if you guys don't have keepa, if you don't have the paid version of keepa, get it. Keepa is literally going to be your Bible when making investment decisions. I religiously analyze the keepa chart, and from top to bottom, year, 3 month, 1 month, 1 week, down to the day. You can see some other components here, such as a very useful one that I have used in the past year, especially because of Amazon's new wacky buy box algorithm, is the buy box statistics. I can see a percentage of who is controlling the buy box in keepa here over the past 30 days, 90, 180. and so on and so forth. So, keepa is great. It's $17 a month, $17 a month, and it is extremely cheap for the value that you're going to gain from it. It's a very low overhead cost. So in addition to your seller account, get keepa if you don't have it, because it's going to enable you to make very informed wholesale buying decisions. If you guys don't know how to read a keepa chart, I'll leave a link, or just go to my channel and check out the video on how to read a keepa chart. It goes into in-depth as to how I break down keepa, and it's a very useful tool. So keepa, we also have our Jungle Scout free sales estimator that we covered earlier. So we're up to $17 per month in software based on keepa. Jungle Scout free sales estimator is free. You guys will see a little blue rectangular bar on my screen that says Count Stock. Count Stock is a free software. Keepa does count the stock of sellers. That's a newer feature that they have, but I do like to cross-reference it with this feature called Count Stock. And I can monitor how many units the other sellers are actually selling. So I can see, is the buy box rotating? Are all of the sellers getting an equal share? Is the product really moving as much as keepa is saying it's moving? So those are all very important things to consider. So Count Stock is a free software if you guys are interested in. And the final free software that is very useful is something called AMZ Scout Calculator. This is a tool that I use to break down my profit and return on investment. I also use Scoutify, which is a paid software. Scoutify is a segment of a software called Inventory Lab, which costs $40 a month. And Inventory Lab is an accounting software, and it's also a integration software with Amazon. So it enables me to add inventory to my Amazon storefront in a seamless manner. And I can also keep track of all of my product costs, top line fees down to the bottom line, and everything in between. So Inventory Lab is very useful. If you guys are interested, it's $40 a month. I'm in no way, shape, or form affiliated with Inventory Lab, but it's just a very useful tool that I use. If you don't want to pay for Inventory Lab and you're just starting, that's okay. As far as breaking down profit costs, or profits and costs, I can use the AMZ Scout calculator, which is free. So I can see on this product that it sells for $35. And it really doesn't move from that besides a couple map violations. So my price is $35. I can, break down and just kind of guesstimate. I can look and kind of make an estimate. All right, if the retail price is $35, there's something called keystone pricing, and what keystone pricing is, it's where the purchase price is half of what the retail price is. And this holds true for a lot of companies. So if we go off of keystone pricing and say that the product cost is $17.50, we're deducing a profit per unit of $12.56. Now, my ROI is 71%, so this is well above average, but we also have to factor in a few other costs. Is there a shipping cost? Are there variable costs, like prep fees? Are you sending the inventory to a prep center? Is Amazon prepping it? Do you prep it in-house? Maybe poly bags, labels, different things like that. But overall, generally speaking, our shipping cost is not going to be more than 50 cents a pound. And for a small supplement like this, it's not even going to be 50 cents because our product weight is estimated around a third. I like to err on the side of caution. So let's say it costs 50 cents in a worst case scenario. And we'll tack on, let's say it costs $1 in prep fees, right? Let's say it requires poly bagging and we got to label it. And we're having Amazon do that service, which is going to cost you about 80 cents for both of those. Plus you got your shipping. Maybe they ship it to you, or well, if they ship it to you, then you would prep it. So let's say they ship it direct to Amazon. So there's no there's no double shipping there, but there is the cost of the company shipping it to Amazon with your labels, your prepaid shipping labels. So let's say, I can't see this costing more in shipping than $1.50 per unit. I'm still deriving a net profit of 1106. Guys, this is with Keystone pricing, where the purchase cost is half of the retail price. This does not always hold true. Sometimes I'll get a price list and, it'll tell me that the buy cost is 27 bucks and the retail price point is 35. And I'll be sitting here trying to figure out how 15 sellers are doing this when the profit is only $1.56, right? So, that's something to consider, guys. Extremely low return on investment. I mean, my goal ROI is above 20%, and my minimum ROI is really no lower than 15. I make some exceptions, but 15 is, I don't like to go below 15% return on investment, right? And for those of you who don't know what ROI is the amount of money you spend in relation to the amount of money that you make. So if I spend $1 on an item and I make $1 on that same item, my ROI is 100%. This is not to be confused with profit margin, which is a percentage of my sales revenue. So what's my gross sales? And the profit margin that I make off that is, if I sell $100,000 worth of inventory, my margin is 20%. I'm making $20,000. So that's ROI versus margin. Sometimes people get those two confused. It's important that you don't. So that's how we can break that down. And based on what type of company you're working with, a lot of companies offer what's called volume discounts. So you can buy 50 units, 100 units, 200 units, 1,000 units, and you can get a lower price at each of those tiers based on the company that you're working with. Some companies offer that, others don't. A lot do, though, because let's talk about wholesale. And what it means is that when you're buying in bulk, the reason why the company is able to lower their cost on each unit is because you're paying them upfront for a large portion of their inventory that would take a longer time for them to sell at normal retail pricing. So they're able to offer you a cost that is lower than what they would a retail customer, because you are pushing a lot through production. It really expedites the production process and kickstarts their manufacturing, because if they have 10 vendors who are ordering $20,000 worth of inventory a month, I mean, you guys can do the math. That company is just booming in production. So, and that doesn't even include their retail sales. So that's why companies offer wholesale to vendors. So that broke down a decent amount. We covered everything from sourcing to some software to my target companies to phone calls, emails. So I do want to open it up to some questions now. I'll close out a couple tabs so that we don't get too crowded. But I'm going to open it up to a couple questions. So I'll get some questions in here answered. But if you guys have questions now, feel free to ask them. I hope that video helped you understand a little bit more about sourcing. So let's start at the top. So let's start. Hi, what kind of value do you provide to the brand in listing? If you can elaborate. So the question is, what kind of value do you provide? I have a video about this. It's titled something like how to get more wholesale accounts for your Amazon business. But the premise of that video discusses how I provide value to the companies. Essentially, I'm calling these companies and I'm trying to get to the closest person to the top as possible. And I'm saying to the company, you know, I like to start it out as putting the ball in the company's court, right? I want that company to talk to me. I'm reading a really good book right now. It's called Never Split the Difference. So if you guys haven't read that book, I encourage you to check it out. It's all about negotiation, whether you're on the phone. It's just a great book, guys. Never Split the Difference. If you haven't read it, check it out. But one component that they talk about in that book is the art of negotiating and sales is half the battle is listening. And most people don't understand that, is that when you're talking to someone on the phone with a end goal in mind of obtaining something that you are seeking, you want to get something out of the other person, right? Um, you have to listen to that person. That is the number one most important thing. Slow down, guys. When you're talking to these companies, it's very important that you slow down and you're not, spewing word vomit, because the company is just not going to care. Um, Chances are these companies are not going to want to sell to Amazon sellers. 9 out of 10 of them do not want to sell to you, and that's a fact that you have to accept. So we have to think of ways for how we can provide value to these companies and really, separate ourselves from all the other hundreds of people that are reaching out to them. Um, Number one way to separate yourself is to pick up the phone and call them, because most people are sending emails. So you've already separated yourself. But by calling them, it's not enough. I like to listen to that company and I want them to tell me about their problems. And hopefully, I can match those problems with pleasure points that have, that I've used with other companies. And as you gain more experience, you can use the companies that you already work with as a marketing tool with new companies, right? If your relationships are good with your existing companies, now you can take those, relationships, and you can say, hey, here's what I did for this brand. Well, here's what's wrong with your Amazon sales, and here's what I can do for your brand, right? This is what you do, and this is how you do it, and you can show proof for that. So that's how I like to approach it. Listen, don't ask is my number one piece of advice. Hey, Brad, do you offer any coaching calls? Would love to schedule one with you. Sure, I do coaching calls. Feel free to reach out to me, either in the Facebook group, Amazon FBA Wholesale Mastermind, or you can shoot me an email. My email is bsherman, BSHERMAN 1897 @gmail.com. So it's not something I advertise, but I'd, I'd be more than happy to do a coaching call with anyone that's interested. You're handsome. Thanks. So you can always tell map pricing by the keepa charts. You can get an idea. Yes, you can get a good idea of if there's map. And you can see that if the price, remains relatively stable like this, right? Now, if the price is, if the price is up and down and in circles, then I know that there's probably not map pricing. If there is, it's not enforced too well. Is it better to call or email than follow-up call? It's a good question. That goes back to what I was saying about the larger the company. If the company's bigger, I like to email them, because then I will get an initial screener. I won't waste my time going through 10 different people on the phone. I'll get an initial screener. Is the company interested in working with online vendors? Maybe the answer is yes. then maybe I'll follow up with a phone call or a more detailed email. If not, I might just move on. And that's one thing you guys have to do in this business is pick and choose your battles. If you get on the phone with a company and they are I've had companies tell me that Amazon is the devil, and they've, hung up on me. This is just all part of sales, and you have to take it with a grain of salt. You can't be afraid of rejection. So in that case, we got to move on and just go to the next one. Rejection is the nature of this business, so it's something you guys have to get used to. So to answer your question directly, it depends. If the company is more smaller, I like to make phone calls. To be honest with you, I like to make phone calls over emails regardless. If there's a phone number listed on the website, chances are I'm going to call the company. If there's only an email or a website inquiry that I can punch into, then I will go that route. Is it okay, in your opinion, to list used electronics on Amazon? I just listed a mixer used and just need an opinion. I would not list used products on Amazon if they are retail arbitrage products. If those products are procured directly from the supplier, then that's okay. But the problem that I have found with listing used products on Amazon, if you don't have direct authorization from the brand, is you can get into trouble with intellectual property complaints and things like that. As far as listing used, a lot of the times sellers, what they'll do, now we're talking about arbitrage, so retail and online arbitrage, right? Procurement from stores, Target, Walmart, stores like that, and then flipping it online. A lot of the times what we'll see is sellers who are gated in a category, new, right? They cannot sell the product as new, but they can sell it used like new or collectible like new, and they'll go and list it like that. That's a mistake because the brand is restricted to that seller, new. What that means is that the brand has something called brand registry on Amazon, and they maintain a strict control over the authorized sellers on their product listing. So they might turn around and issue you an intellectual property counterfeit complaint against your store, which then puts your account health at risk. So personally, it is above my risk tolerance to list products that are used, especially, to be honest with you, especially in the electronic space. I found that electronics, routers, and different types of brands in that category have higher tendencies to issue IP complaints. So hope that answers your question. Hope it didn't scare you too much, but that's just the route I would go. D's Quick View is free Chrome extension and tells you instantly if Amazon the seller. Yes, it's called DS Amazon Quick View. It's free. You don't have to click on the product listing. Saves you a lot of time, right? And if you had to go click on the listing, see if Amazon's on it, multiply that by 100 different products. Guys, this is the more efficient you can be, the better. So a free Chrome extension that does that for you is very helpful. Next question. Is it more beneficial for a brand to sell directly to Amazon or to a third-party seller? Does Amazon give the brand bad terms or good ones? That's a good question. So I like that question. I'm just thinking of a response. It depends. Now I sound like a lawyer. So here's the thing, guys. Is it more beneficial for a brand to sell directly on Amazon or to a third-party seller? There are pros and cons to both. So I think that's the way we should approach this question. So for the brand to sell on Amazon directly themselves, which I work with a number of brands that do sell directly on Amazon and sell to third-party sellers. Um, so if the brand sells directly on Amazon themselves, they're getting all the sales, right? If they don't sell to any other third-party sellers, they're getting all of the sales that take place on Amazon, and they're selling all of their product at retail, and they're just flushing it right through retail. Whereas if they sell it to a third-party seller or multiple on Amazon, they are now selling wholesale to those third-party sellers, who then sell on Amazon and divide the sales from divide the retail sales from that brand, right? So the benefit to selling it only themselves is that they get all of the sales. The con to that is that they don't get to sell wholesale to third-party sellers. So we go back to that speeding up production, why wholesale is a good route for a lot of companies to go. But they also have to deal with all of the headaches that come with selling on Amazon. Guys, Amazon is a difficult business partner to work with. And that is where you can come in and market yourself as, someone who assists with the Amazon platform. That's a great tool to use, because one main reason why brands don't sell only by themselves is because they don't want the headaches that are associated with selling on Amazon. And guys, there are a lot of headaches in this business. I mean, if it's not one issue, it's another issue. And most of the time those headaches are derived from Amazon, the company themselves. So it saves them a lot of time. And, if they get a solid group of sellers, not too many, they can maintain a solid pricing structure and really grow their Amazon presence. Amazon can give the brand uh, bad terms or good terms, right? Bad terms in the sense that Amazon is a little bit like the wild, wild west, in the sense that there's not a whole lot of control that the brand has, unless they have, brand registry, or they sell direct on the listing. Um, that's something that you guys have to consider, because those are some bad terms that a brand would have if they're selling on Amazon. Some good terms is that Amazon's the largest e-commerce channel in the world, and if a brand is not doing business on Amazon, chances are they're not doing business. That's just kind of the nature of the times now. I mean, if companies are not going the e-commerce route, they're going to have a hard time. If they don't have an online presence in some fashion, that you're cutting out the number one form of sales right there. I mean, the biggest sales channel right now is online, especially with the pandemic. We have seen such a shift to online sales, especially Amazon. I mean, look, Amazon has grown exponentially in 2020 since this pandemic has broke out, and they're only going to continue to grow. So chances are all of these brands, they have their own e-commerce site, but a lot of them do like to keep control over Amazon, and they don't want to sell to third-party sellers because it can get out of control, and they can get inundated and oversaturate the market with third-party sellers. And that is okay, guys. That, we can look at that and say, oh, there's no opportunity to partner with these companies because they're not selling to anyone. Or you can take that and look at it and say, all right, well, maybe only a small fraction or percentage of these companies are willing to do business. And those companies that are willing to do business are probably keeping a cap on the number of sellers that they add. So that's just, if you get in at the right time, it's less competition for you guys. I'm partnered with a couple companies. I work with one company exclusively. I work with another company who doesn't sell to any more than 4 other sellers. I work with some companies that do add sellers, and that's just kind of, you have to break that profit down at the end of the month and see what are each of these accounts generating you. But generally speaking, the more exclusive you can keep the relationship, meaning the less competition, the less people they're going to sell to, the better you have and the more sustainable your wholesale account is, right? Because this goes back to something that I've said in other videos. If you build out a stream of wholesale accounts, I like to compare this type of a business model to an insurance agent, because or an insurance agent is building their book of clients, right? They're building each of their clients in their book, pays a premium and generates them X amount, month after month, year after year, and they cultivate that relationship. That agent cultivates that relationship with the client over time, and they continue to grow it, and they upcharge for more premiums, and they continue to build out their revenue stream with each of these clients, and they keep growing each of those client accounts. With wholesale, your customers are not the people that you sell to. Your customers are the people that you buy from, right? We are serving the brands that we work with. So that is extremely important to realize. Guys, as soon as you realize that your customers and clients are the companies that you do business with and not the customers that you sell to, those are Amazon's customers. Those are not your customers, right? Because if you didn't exist on Amazon, they're still going to shop on Amazon. That's just the nature of the platform, and the nature of our business model, wholesale, right? We're doing private label. That's a different story. You have a brand that you've grown, and you can sell it on Amazon. You can take it off Amazon. You can put it in retail stores, right? That's your brand. That's your clientele. Your clientele with customers on Amazon. And when you sell wholesale, chances are those customers are just buying the product, and they are just so happen to be buying from you because you're in the buy box. So focus our efforts on the companies that you do business with, because that is where you're going to grow out your system of accounts and your revenue streams. And you can continue to grow these accounts out, one at a time. And one account, maybe it generates you $1,000 a month. The next, maybe only $200 a month. Maybe one of them, only generates you $50 a month. But you keep adding these different accounts, and some generate you more than others. And you are accumulating multiple revenue streams that the culmination of all of them together generates you a solid profit at the end of the month. And you continue to maintain these relationships with the companies. And sometimes they go, sometimes pricing changes. It's not profitable anymore. They drop you as a seller. Things happen, but that's why we cultivate our relationships over time. In addition to listening to the companies that you do business with when you're talking on the phone, my second biggest piece of advice is to follow up and be persistent. Guys, you have to follow up with the companies that you contact, because if you don't, you're not most likely going to get the account on the first try. It's going to take a cultivated relationship and a repeat effort in order to close a wholesale account. And the more exclusive that wholesale account is, the more effort it's going to take. We're not saying, guys, I'm not saying to, be a pest and be a nag and just constantly nag. That's not what we're going for. We're going for a professional, persistent effort with the company and giving them value, right? Give them value. Tell them what their competition is doing. Tell them what they're not doing, and continue to follow up over time. I've been following up with some companies for over a year, and I'm not going to stop, because that, in the slightest chance that I get a wholesale account with that company, it's going to be worth that effort, right? And it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to continue to follow up with the companies. That's my piece of advice. When you started your wholesale business, how long was it until you got your first account? So I started, for those of you who have been following me for any amount of time, you know that I started in retail arbitrage, and I continue to do arbitrage, right? I do some online arbitrage. I do some retail arbitrage, especially last Q4. I did a lot of retail arbitrage. So that was the most of my business for 2019. At the end of 2019, I got a couple wholesale accounts. So when I first started wholesale, it was probably, I want to say, somewhere around middle of the year in 2019. So let's say it was around June. I think I closed my first account by, or maybe I got accounts, but I think I purchased my first product probably by August. So it might have taken me 2 months or so. Again, this is a rough timeline. I don't know exactly, but maybe about 2 months to purchase my first wholesale product from the point that I started. And that's roughly what I remember. Again, it's not completely accurate. Pete Smith, do you sell in any other countries besides the USA? No, I actually don't. It's a good question. So there's, in terms of selling globally, there are two different kind of models, right? When it comes to selling globally on Amazon, you can enroll in a program, what is called NARF, and it's North American. I can't think of the last two letters in the acronym, but it's the NARF program on Amazon. You can just search that on Google, and it'll tell you all about it. Essentially, what that does is you become eligible to, and it's not hard to obtain, you become eligible to sell in Canada and Mexico. So through the NARF program, however, your inventory is based in the United States. So here's the thing about NARF is that a lot of products, especially if you're selling wholesale, you don't maybe have an exclusive brand and private label. If you're selling wholesale, think about it, guys. If we're in the United States, how many times do you go to Amazon.ca, search for a product, and buy it from the Canadian market? You don't. And that's the tough part about NARF, is that if you're selling in Mexico or Canada through the NARF program, but your inventory is based in the United States, and that is the premise of the NARF program, then you're not really going to get customers purchasing your inventory. Very few are going to purchase on cross-country markets. So, that's something to consider. However, you can become eligible to actually sell on other platforms, and this takes way more criteria in order to meet this. To meet their criteria, you have to be doing a decent amount of volume. I don't know the exact statistics, but say Amazon.uk, that's where your inventory is actually being shipped into that country, and you're selling directly on the platform as opposed to just selling, cross marketplace. If that makes sense, I hope that makes sense. So I don't. It's something I hope to do in the future. And if you guys have any more questions about that, there's a ton of information on Google, on Amazon's site and whatnot. So hope that helped. Next question. So we are going to be wrapping it up in a couple minutes. So if you guys have any last minute questions, drop them in. If I recall correctly, in a video with Rakin, shout out Rakin, you said your monthly sales were about 80K. Are you higher or lower now? I'm below 80K right now. In Q4, my top monthly sales was 150,000. So we did hit that. So I broke that 80K in Q4. I'm lower. I'm hovering around 60K, somewhere around there. My profit margin is this month a little bit, my profit margin has been better from November, December, and January has been better than it was in October, September, and August. So my profit margin has gone up a little bit and my sales have gone down. So I'm roughly running around a similar net. So hopefully that answers your question. If you guys have any last minute questions, pop them in, but we are going to hop off soon. I really hope this video helped you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please smash that like button because it really helps out the channel grow. It triggers YouTube's algorithm to boost the video higher, and the higher we rank, the more the channel grows and the more valuable content I can keep providing with you guys. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys don't have any more last minute questions, I am going to sign off. If you have not subscribed to the channel already, smash that subscribe button. If you're not in our free private Facebook group, Amazon FBA Wholesale Mastermind, make sure to join because I provide a lot of good content in there. It's just a spot for open dialogue that we can communicate back and forth directly. It's a great resource for you guys. So, I appreciate the support, and we are going to sign off now. Thank you guys so much for attending. This video is recorded, so be able to go back and watch it. Thank you guys so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you next time.